welcome everyone. It is an absolute joy to be here today. We are going on a deep dive into psychosomatic therapy and body language with the incredible Kelly Love. So my name is Kelsey Corey. I am an emotional fitness coach and the founder of Energy for Impact. And I believe that we are here to use our energy for impact to live a life that we are grateful for, proud of, and fulfilled by. And it's a joy to get to share the different tools, modalities, and approaches that I've discovered and use along my journey of doing that with you. And that is why I'm inviting Kelly to share in this conversation with me. Two friends here having a chat to share with you the power of these modalities and these tools. So a little about Kelly. She is master trained in psychosomatic therapy and is currently in her teaching diplomacy for that. And she's also trained in integrative trauma release, Reiki, and embodied healing arts. And so Kelly combines all of this and her intuitive wisdom, which is so incredible. That's the real cherry on top, and guides people that she works with into seeing their truth and rising into their soul's purpose. Kelly, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Kelsey. What an honor. I mean, I know I realize we're friends, and I also just love your enthusiasm with the introduction and with sharing this magic, because I know how much it's impacted you as well. And that's really what I'm passionate about, is giving people a tool that is going to enhance what they're already doing in life. And what I love about body language is it's a universal language. So once you learn it for yourself, you learn it for every single human in the world. And so it's an immediate way to connect to the heart and soul of people.
It is magic. It is magic. And I'm excited to be sharing more about it here today, sharing about my experience, hearing more about yours. And really, that's how my introduction to all of this started, was through conversation with you. You would mention it here and there. I mean, we met at an ecstatic dance experience. So talk about somatic release, right? Already into that kind of energy. And from there, fast friends, our conversations flowed. We went deep really quickly because we recognized the safe space that the other offers. And
we bonded over food. We bonded over food. Donuts and pot pies.
The most important thing. And yeah, it's such a joy to have been able to hear from you, your story of how you got into this, what led you to this. And then through that experience with you, I'll always remember the first time on the beach and you were like, hey, can I give you a few tips on your walking? And I was just like, oh yeah, okay, right? How often do you pause and think about the way that you're walking and how that is impacting you are showing up in life, right? So we'll go a bit deeper on the psychosomatic walking in a bit, but that was really that first moment of aha for me to be like, oh, okay, cool. I have a lot of experience with different modalities, like in NLP, when we learn that the subconscious is in every cell of your body and it's expressing itself and wanting to get your attention. And then for you to say, well, hey, the psychosomatics and the body language is your soul's way of speaking to you through your body.
And it was I got goosebumps.
Right? It was like, oh, it's trying to get in contact. And the other part of it that I really loved, in my one-on-one Discover You session that we had, and you really helped me see it, the way in which it's being reflected back to me from this place of love. I'm going to encourage you and invite you to go a little deeper into this, but the power of everything that you are being shown and the way that your body is expressing, right? The body being a biofeedback, two-way biofeedback mechanism to help you see and understand what you're hiding from or what you're not seeing. And it always coming from this place of love. Tell us.
Yes. Oh my gosh. First of all, I just feel like you learned it, right? It just came out of you. Like it's in you now. So for me, that's really encouraging to see that it's gone deep for you, because that's what this is about, right? Why I get so passionate about body language is because it's not, I'm going to hand you something, I'm going to give you a fish for a day. It's teaching you how to fish for yourself and feel it and own it. And you're doing it. I love it. And yeah, I got into this work to understand myself. I grew up very disembodied. I'll give you a little bit of face reading to begin with. There's 3 zones on our face. This is our mental zone. So these are the upper chakras, the crown, third eye, and throat. And then this is the emotional zone. So this is the heart and the solar plexus. And then this is our physical zone. So the sacral and the root chakra. And as you can see, I am dominant in the mental zone. It takes up the majority of my face. And so in my past, I lived very much up in my mind. I didn't feel safe in my body. And that was because I went through a lot of very challenging and traumatic experiences, from being raped as a baby by my parents, a sexual assault in high school, being molested by a Sunday school teacher, my daughter dying, 2 major hip surgeries, including a hip replacement, and being raised with narcissistic parents. I mean, there was a lot, right? There were many layers. And of course, I was living up in my head because my body, the human experience, didn't feel safe. And I got to this place where, I was telling a friend one day about some issue I was going through with a guy, and she goes, "You're the common denominator. Maybe there's something to look at here." And I was like, F you. And at the same time, she was right. I was the common denominator. And it caused me to pause and be like, well, what is it about me that is causing this to happen in my life? And how am I able to, instead of being the victim of my circumstances, how can I become the victor of my circumstances? And so I started with talk therapy, which was really great for me to make peace with why I turned out the way that I did, instead of shaming myself and beating myself up for it. Like I understood why I was the way that I was. And once I understood it, I thought, well, how do I change it now? And this is when I started finding embodied healing arts and understanding more about how I function physiologically and psychologically, like really getting in touch with my nature. And that was something that I heard at the beginning of my journey, was get in touch with your body and nature, because this is where your power is at. And growing up, not trusting my nature, not trusting my body, or that I am the source of the power, that was revolutionary for me. And once I started down this embodied healing path, I realized that we do have the ability to use our body to heal our body, mind, and soul. And so along this way, I ended up finding my mentor, who taught me how to read body language. And when she first met me, she gave me a hug and was like, "Oh, you didn't get enough pats on your back, and you didn't get enough affection growing up, and you were probably pretty rebellious," like right for the spiritual jugular, right? And that's her style. And I was like, hi, yeah, nice to meet you. To be so seen, to be so seen in that moment. And for years, decades, really putting on this front that everything was fine. And somebody seeing the heart and soul of me and saying, "Oh, I've seen what shaped you. I see the truth." And that stuck with me. And I wasn't fully ready to receive her medicine. And so I did all these other trainings and retreats. And at the end of that, I needed to get a hip replacement. My hip had become so deteriorated. I found out part of the leg bone actually died and just tore up the whole joint. And I thought, oh, maybe this is a good time to call Carol. And I encourage people now, we don't have to wait until our bodies break or break down for us to tune into that language. And so I did my call, and in that, we got to the root issues of why I needed a hip replacement and why I broke this clavicle. And I began to understand the motion of our energy that shapes us. We also call this energy in motion, or emotions, our energy in motion. So what psychosomatic therapy, body language, is displaying to the world is the motion of the energy that has shaped each human to be who they are. It's reading energy. That's all it is, the energy of what shaped you. And in a world where we're increasingly bypassing our emotions and trying to put on the rosy colored glasses, that is spiritual bypassing 101, because the emotions are the language of the soul. It's the energy of the soul speaking through us. And so it manifests in a lot of ways. And I'm excited to share a little bit more about how that shows up.
Oof. I mean, I know a lot of that, and then you hear it again and you kind of like pick up on and like deepen the understanding and the appreciation. And I mean, I've said this to you a million times, like you're such an inspiration to me to get to witness you at this stage of who you are, and not to have known you through all of the trauma that you encountered and experienced, but to witness you here and now as who you are, having risen above all of that, having said, hey, I get the opportunity to heal from that. I don't have to let that define me. I get to choose who and how I'm going to be moving forward, and to the way you support yourself and the way that this modality, these tools has really helped shape that and form that. It's powerful. It's so powerful.
Yes.
And that's why, like when So Much Love, when you came out with your So Much Love offering, it was like, fuck yes, I'm involved. I want to be in that and part of that. I remember I wrote this down, and this has been one of the quotes that has stayed with me, because it was in our very first group call, and you said, body language is the roadmap to unbecoming all that was never you and rising into the truth of who you are.
I inspire myself. I mean, I'm just going to say it. It's a really good quote.
It is. It's great. And it's so true. And so let's go a little bit into kind of a bit more about like, what exactly is it? How does it work? Because I think it's well and good to speak to it. But once you get into the depth of the understanding, and you know, you gave some examples here. Like, I know that for me, when it's an understanding of everything that is coming and being expressed on the right side is related to your masculine energy, and everything expressed on the left side is related to your feminine energy. And I love that you bring, you know, emotions or energy in motion. I've got a little rap for that. If you want to join me here, emotions, energy in motion. Boom, boom, emotions, energy in motion. I use that and I share that with clients as like a little pattern interrupt that you can use when you get yourself caught up in your emotions, and you kind of go, oh, hey, this is my energy in motion. It's shifting. I can help it here. But with all, you know, with the gist of that, yes, the right side is the male side here. We've got a quick little question popping in there. So you went on, let me come back to my train of thought.
Right side, left side.
Yes. And so like the body language, the positions, the postures that and the patterns that we hold in our body, it's that emotion is trapped there. Right. And I love to, you taught us, you know, going down this path and exploring psychosomatics is a direct track. It's not necessarily the fast track. So it's really showing up and being committed to showing up for yourself with love, and coming to it with compassion and curiosity and kindness, and creating the shifts and allowing the shifts to occur, not with force, but with love.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to go? I was going to say more, but you go.
Yeah, you can say more. I'm holding presence, and I will respond when you're done. Yeah.
So I was just going to add in there. So it's like, it's the beauty of, I know for me, my experience with this work, it's been the beauty of kind of looking at, you gave us the glimpse of what the face and how we can know about the zones of the face. And then, you know, through So Much Love, we went through each of the areas of the body based on our chakras. So building through that and really looking at that full picture of where am I at? How is my soul communicating to me through my body? What are these different positions and postures I find myself subconsciously moving into? And then what I can do about it to help that shift. So you want to go a little deeper into just kind of what and how?
Yes. This is juicy. So I like to start out by explaining what is body language based off of. It's based off understanding the energy flow between the chakra system and also the right and left brain function. So in psychosomatic therapy, the reason why we have a separate face reading training is because we have all the chakras on our face, all the body parts, the masculine and feminine energy, the different types of energy. So you can see so much about a person in a face. And then we have also all the chakras in our hands and in our feet, as well as in the body. So when we understand how to read how the chakra energies flow in these areas, we can begin to see the energy that has shaped someone. So every experience we go through has an emotion tied to it. And as well, our bodies are 100% sensory. We are sensory beings. That's how I can say it. So as much as we like to think that the mind controls things, 90% of the communication in the body is the body informing the brain. And on top of that, 93% of all communication is body language. Only 7% is the actual spoken word. So we do ourselves a favor to understand how to interpret this energy so we can hear what's going on inside of us. And so what's so beautiful about this language is it shows up in our posture, our mannerisms, the language that we use, how the different parts of our body are shaped, whether we have lots of muscle tissue or fatty tissue, or maybe it's just like hanging off in certain areas. How does our hair grow? I mean, all of these things are the soul communicating what it's like living our human experience. And it's this communication of love, and it's intended to align us to our individual truth. Yes, there is universal truth in the sense of this world, this universe operates on the frequency of love. And so, of course, on a microcosm, our vessel operates at a frequency of love. And so this communication is bringing us back into alignment with self-love. And when we are in this place of self-love, of really owning who the fuck we are and why the fuck we came to this earth, and standing up for ourselves, like a lot of people think standing up for ourselves is, you know, having a word war, keyboard war. Standing up for ourselves is being who you say you are, and being who your soul came here to be, and accomplish the things that light your soul on fire. And this is what body language is about. And along that way, we go through many experiences that get us off track, that misalign us from our purpose. And so in reading body language, we can see where those occurrences happened. And in that is our medicine of how do we heal ourselves.
I'd love to jump in there because this feels like the perfect correlation to make, is like through my experiences training with you and being supported by you, and you've witnessed this in me, and it's something we celebrate a lot together, is how much I've shifted my tendency to be a people pleaser or be an obliger or put and meet other people's needs ahead of my own, to shifting into this awareness of the importance of prioritizing myself and my wants and needs and staying in integrity with me because of what was being expressed from my body. Each time I was sacrificing myself and letting myself down, thinking that I was doing the right thing, or that I should be doing it, or that it was good to do that because it's how I was conditioned, it's what was expected of me, and how I was trained to be. And then getting to shift that for myself has been one of the most incredible experiences. The way that I relate to myself these days is with so much more love and so much more consideration and care and empowerment and awareness that when I am putting myself first, like a lot of people will talk about that being selfish. And I heard this really great thing to say, if anyone ever calls you selfish, it's important to realize that that's them saying, oh, hey, you putting your needs first ahead of mine is unfair. And it's like, they're actually
exactly.
So it was so beautiful. And it's amazing too, to then get to witness, like, how do the relationships in my life adjust to that newfound power that I am holding, right? Because an element, a really key and important aspect of the work you do is encouraging people to step into their self-leadership and to take the full responsibility for showing up as in their soul's alignment, in their purpose. I've got goosebumps as I'm saying this. Like, it's just, it's the complete opposite to really how we are conditioned and how culturally a lot of us have experienced life. And so to feel that empowerment and to feel that encouragement and to feel that innate internal like expression coming through with confidence, it's the kind of thing, like, I'm stumbling on my words a bit because it's not easy to express in words. It's a feeling, right? And it's just such a deep and joyful and true feeling of alignment and gratitude with yourself that is the power and the potential and the potency of this work. So yeah, I wanted to offer that as like a real-time reference and reflection of the truth of everything that you're sharing. Because it's amazing.
Yes. And I remember watching you become aware of this in the container. And we'd had many conversations about you spreading yourself thin and saying yes to a lot of things and just kind of feeling like you're just barely hanging on to everything. And I remember we would talk about it. I would say at some point, something's got to give. Is it you or is it them, Kelsey? And it got to the point, right, where some things did start to give. And and
it shifted. And
yeah, and in that, oh man, what do I want to share here? So coming into this container, there is this beautiful alchemy process that happens. Every single human that is in your life is a perfect mirror, whether it is to mirror to you your strength and the role that you are playing within a relational dynamic, or to show you where there's a shadow or something you're not seeing and to step up into your power. And so in this container, Kelsey and I, we had a moment like this. And I remember when we finally had I don't want to say confrontation, but we had the talk about it. You had shared some things and I go, Kelsey, I'm going to ask you to dig deeper. I'm going to ask you to go back and look at what you've been learning about yourself and the themes that are showing up and come back to me with a different reflection about what's going on, because there's a deeper theme going on here. And that was what really gave you that opportunity to take a look in the mirror and own some things and come back in your power in a different energy. I mean, I have goosebumps even talking about it, right? And to see you really practically shift that energy of pleasing everyone and realizing you can't please everyone. The one that really needs to be pleased is you. Like, what is motivating you to get up and give your best every day? Because that is actually what the world needs and what you need.
Beautiful. So beautifully said. And that's the power too of the way that you see people, Kelly, like, and you know, you're master trained at this, right? Like the depths of which you have the understanding. And you know, I feel like I'm just scratching the surface of that understanding, and you know, have the intention to join a practitioner training in the future at some point. And so, you know, in the container and being held by you and having that opportunity for you to say to me, hang on, I could accept you at this level, but I know that you've got deeper to go here. I know that there is more to unearth here, and for you to admit to yourself, because you mentioned, I love that reference of like the mirror is either there to help shine a light on your strength or shine a light on your shadow. And that's 100% what happened for me in that instance, was like, what are you hiding from? What are you not admitting to yourself? And I listened to this great podcast the other day about shadow work, and it really was talking about like, these are parts of us that we've discarded, and we need to invite them back and integrate them back and approach them with love. And that's 100% what the whole process of Through So Much Love did for me and invited for me that. And so, yeah, created incredible shifts, and I love it and I appreciate it immensely. And that also ties back into the concept of the different patterns and the way in which, because, you know, something happens and it can be a once-off anomaly, but when you start to see repetition, and whether that is repetition in the different ways that your body language is talking to you and the different themes that they connect with, or perhaps it's the different experiences that you're having in your relationships and the behaviors that you're doing or not doing that are causing those. And, you know, you talked about how our patterns are going to keep repeating until we're ready and willing to face them fully and show up and change that.
Yes.
Right? So talk to me a little bit more about how, you know, really diving into this work is that opportunity to illuminate where the shifts and the opportunities for change are.
Yeah. Thank you for that. It's a great question. I'll start with me, how I do it for me. And why I got into this work. Like I said, it was relational issues. And what I had continued to attract in my life were emotionally unavailable men, and abusive in some ways, or narcissistic in some ways. And even a lot of female friendships where I was getting stabbed in the back. And that allowed me to go into my body and see, where did this all start? And 99% of the time, y'all, it's going to be within the first 7 years of your life. This is where most of our patterns are formed. And so I got to do a lot of inner child work, healing a lot of the inner child. And how it came alive for me, what really caught my attention was my hip replacement. Well, I should say it was two things. The first was breaking my collarbone. I was about ready to start seminary, and then I broke my collarbone. And then that was the day before I was going to sign up for my classes. And I couldn't anymore because of the broken collarbone. And this huge wave of relief came over me. And I go, why am I talking myself into this anymore? So I turned around and I did a 180 in life and went down my new spiritual path. And then while I was on this path, gathering all my tools to learn how to heal, my body finally gave out and said, we need this hip replacement. This is the time for it. And in that, I discovered that was rooted in the childhood, or I should say the infant rapings that I experienced. And when stuff happens pre-verbally, and a lot of times before we're even logging our memories in, because the neocortex isn't fully formed until 27 if you've had no trauma. So even though I didn't have a conscious memory of it, my body held on to the trauma. And what ended up happening is, in my childhood, I played sports, and it started with my left ankle twisting when I would play sports, and I knocked it out of alignment several times. And there was this scar tissue in there for many, many years. It's getting a lot better now that I'm working on alignment. And then with that, for the longest time, I thought my left leg was longer, but it wasn't longer. It was actually just dissociating. When I was walking, the muscles were dissociating. And so first I have an unstable ankle, and then I have my leg that's just kind of like swinging out there. I don't know how I was using it, which means that I was landing very unstably as well. And on top of that, I developed this overcompensation of leaning on the right side of my body, which is leaning on masculine energy. It's like the feminine didn't feel safe. She began to dissociate. I can't step out in life. I don't have a firm foundation. The rug was ripped out from under me. That's the story. Those are the emotions that a baby would feel, right? Being greeted into the world like this. And so, of course, naturally, I went to lean in more into my masculine energy, which is why I also have this massive forehead, because I stayed up in the mental zone for so long. And, you know, other ways that I can see it in my body is like the tips of my fingers go up. It's like, get me out of here. You know, these are the upper chakras on the hands. And so just for a long time, not feeling safe in this body, get me out of here, staying up in the ethereal realm. I mean, my face kind of looks like a hot air balloon, right? Let's stay up here. It's more safe up here. And really getting in touch with all of that. And when I got my hip replacement, I was allowed to slow down to a complete stop and hear all of those stories and do that deep inner work. And like you said, it's the direct route. It's not always fast, and it's not always linear. And the body is so wise in giving us the clues that we need each step of the way. And that's why it's so important to learn body language. We don't need to wait until we're crippled on the side of the road. We can learn it now and respond in motion.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, and like the painting the picture and understanding how it all comes together. And then, you referenced, now that I'm working on my alignment. And so that's another, I think, the element that you bring to this. You've trained under Carol and you've absorbed all of her expertise. And then you've taken it up a notch by offering and adding in, okay, well, what do we do with this information? How do we help this shift? And so the variety of different practices to come into alignment. So you've got the embodiment and the emotional release practices, and then we've got the how to work out and move your body so that it is in alignment. And so we referenced so another pattern that came up for me through doing my full body report in So Much Love, and I'll just think back, you said earlier about like, I'm not about giving people a fish, I'm about teaching them to fish. And that's what I loved about, like, as I was preparing for our call, I've got my full body report here, and like reading back over it and like realizing, because when to have someone say it to you is one thing, and then to have you see it for yourself is a whole thing. So reconnecting with that, and one of my patterns is also this fear of stepping into my masculine and leaning into my masculine and owning my masculine, right? Like I have that tendency, I shift my torso to the left, I lean towards my feminine, and then my right foot has this tendency, like my left foot will stand straight, and then my right foot will just kind of come out a little bit and do this like little funky out. And ever since learning it, bringing the awareness to it, bringing the attention to it, I am training it, I'm bringing it back in, I'm checking it from the hip, I'm aligning that. And then that's also then comes translated into the practice of the psychosomatic walking and the power of not landing heels, landing on the balls of the feet, projecting, propelling yourself forward, coming into that direction and to that alignment. Because a lot of what I've learned through this is that when we're like giving our energy away to others, it's such a waste, right? It's like the masculine, this is the best analogy of masculine and feminine I've ever heard, is that the masculine is like the river bed and the feminine is the water in which that flows through.
That's good.
So is right, when there isn't the structure and the foundation for the water to flow, it's just going to go everywhere and spread itself out. Whereas when you can create that direction, it can flow with the power that it truly is. And do you want to give a little bit more? We've got a little bit of time here. Do you want to give a bit more of an explanation as to the power of like that building that foundation from the psychosomatic walk and the impact that that can bring?
Yeah. So we are a two-way biofeedback system. So our body is displaying to the world the energy, the emotions that have shaped us to be who we are. Once we understand the body language and the messages coming through, we're able to actually reshape our body. And so part of how I do that and what I guide people through is, first of all, understanding what's an aligned posture. And then once seeing what that aligned posture is, the new messages you're sending your body, working out in a way that actually supports that posture. Because if you have been walking through life one way and that's what your energy is displaying, then you're going to have muscles that are overcompensating and muscles that are dissociated or things are out of alignment. And so I teach people to work out in a way that actually does it in alignment. It's all body weight. Trust me, you're going to be sweating and shaking. These look super simple. Kelsey, you can attest to that?
I just want to reference us at the gym the other day and doing the full fold. And this person was watching me because I was just like, and they're just like, you've got no weight, like you're not, and you've no idea when you fully intentionally are in that alignment and the contraction. Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
Like I'm trained in yoga and Pilates and have this wisdom and knowledge of the body. And yet it was that like fine tuning it to that specific alignment that changes everything. It's powerful.
And that says so much too about what it means to stand in our power. It's not to just use it haphazardly and the power. You have some power. You have some power. Everybody has some of my power. No, it's understanding consciously the power that you are and intentionally moving it and using it. And when we cultivate the strength of our body in alignment, we cultivate a message that we tell our soul, I am stepping out in my strength and my power in alignment directly towards my direction and purpose in life. I'm not giving it away here and there. This is where it goes. I place my power here. So this is what we're doing, is we're redirecting the energy that has been misaligned and focusing on what we need to do to heal and what we need to do to rise in our power to fulfill our soul's destiny.
Yep. And it's magical. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's simpler than it may, not that it may sound, but like we may perceive it to be, that all this is going to be this big, long, difficult thing. And it's like, well, actually, when you choose a specific focus and you commit the time and energy to it, like the changes happen rapidly, right? Like when you do, instead of the energy going, bring it into the direction and the intention and create the change from the ground up. It's so powerful. It's so fun.
It is. And really, body language is a starting point of everything. I say that confidently because it's a relationship with your soul. In any other relationship, you speak directly to that other individual about how you're going to relate, things you're feeling, how you want to move forward. And yet, for some reason, when it comes to healing ourselves, we're outsourcing to everybody. Oh, this person says I should do this. And I've heard about this, or I've heard about that. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, let's slow down in presence with the soul, tune into what are the actual needs, and then dose ourselves the medicine that we need. That's why in about 4 years, I was able to move through 4 decades of trauma and be in this calm, grounded, powerful place that I'm in right now, guiding people to come into this for themselves, right? Because I took the time to slow down and listen. I wasn't out there hammering away at everything and freaking reconstruction. That's unnecessary. It's dosing what we need. And that's why it's the foundation. And sorry, one other thing, and I realize we do need to wrap up soon. With the working out, there's also doing the different somatic practices that interrupt the subconscious programming, as well as actually learning the body language. It's a inside out transformation. And what's so beautiful about body language and why I fell in love with it and it became my best friend is, as a woman that didn't feel safe in my body, and I was very much in the mental zone, this was such a beautiful bridge between being in the mind and using the mind to serve the body, to come into an understanding of the body and feel safe in this home that has been given to my soul. This is where the power and the beauty is for body language.
Into that, there's like, that's beautiful. That's a really beautiful way to say it. Yep. So I feel that that's a big part of what is lacking in this world, is helping people create that safety for themselves and within themselves. And from that place, then coming into being and expressing into the world. We could continue for hours.
We could. And I really want to honor the people that showed up and give an opportunity for people. Beautiful
people joining us, and we're going to dive into Q&A in a little bit. I would love for the opportunity for you to share the variety of different ways in which people can experience and work with you.
Yes. So my main focuses right now are training people to understand this for themselves, because this is where the real power and the magic are. I've done a lot of one-on-one, and where I see the real transformation is in learning for yourself. And so I run regular face reading trainings about once a month. I haven't set a date for August yet. It's kind of a full month, so I'm still feeling into that, my capacity. So for this month, there is a July 15th face reading training. This is an all-day training where you're going to learn everything about face shape, hairline, all the different features, the chakras, masculine, feminine energy, everything. You're going to be able to see yourself clearly. And as well, we look at faces every day, and we're feeling people's energy. So this is putting a language to the energy that we're feeling. And so for the first 5 people that sign up for the July 15th face reading training, you are also going to get a complimentary coaching session. It's 60 minutes long. It's a discover you session. So we can either go over your face reading in detail and give you some valuable feedback and how to engage this tool, listen to it, and maybe do some practices to begin to interrupt the programming. Or you can pick one topic of your choice that you're trying to get clarification on, whether it's past or present, and we'll use the variety of tools that I have to get the clarity that you need, and I'll be showing it in your body. So it's not just me grabbing information out there. Intuition is your inner tutor speaking to you. So what I am just reflecting to you is what that intuition is through the language of your body. That's where it really lands. And then I also have my Soul Much Love program. That's done by application only, max 8 people in the container because we go that deep. And for the first 3 people that sign up for it from this recording or from this live, you get 10% off. So that's a $250 gift. Kelsey's going to have the flyer for that. Maybe we can send that out. I'm not going to post it on my Instagram because that's just for y'all here.
Yep, I will include it in here. I've dropped it into the chat for those joining us live now, and then it will be shared with replay. And we'll work out. I might even put it into the recording so those that watch to this point get the information.
Yeah, and there's 2 investment options. So if you want to just do it for self-development, that's one investment option, and there's a specific code you put in at checkout for that. And then if you are desiring to actually learn how to professionally read faces and get feedback on practice reports that you do, that's a different investment, and that's all in the details with Kelsey. And then next month in August here in Costa Rica, if you are desiring to become a practitioner of psychosomatic therapy, really learn all the nuances from every digit of your toe and finger to the top of your head and understand how to interact with this language. That is in August 12th through the 24th here in Costa Rica at Heaven and Earth Sanctuary. It's gorgeous here. And if you need more information, reach out.
Amazing. I loved that intuition is your inner tutor, working to communicate with you. Ooh.
And information is the information. It's already in us. We don't need to seek outside information. It's already in us. We're just learning to attune to it. So much about spelling words and spelling.
Understanding ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the beauty, really. I guess that kind of wraps up everything about psychosomatic therapy, body language. It's bringing your awareness and your insight internal so that you can draw the answers and the wisdom from within that are already there. We've just been trained and told and conditioned to believe they're not. The external world holds our truth for it's inside of us. That's where it comes from. To share it with the world from that place. And it's just such a more joyful experience when you are leading yourself from that. So
yes. Amazing. Ain't nobody gonna save you but you. That's what it comes down to. We are the ones we've been waiting for.
And we had this conversation in our clearing call about the responsibility, like the ability for you to respond and take that responsibility seriously, because as you say, no one else is going to do it for you, right? So
it comes down to being the victim or the victor, right? Like you may not have been able to control what happened to you, and you are able to respond now. And that's what it means to take responsibility. It's like, okay, I'm here now. What do I do with it now? Because I could have been the victim forever. My mom did this, my dad did this, these guys did that, my daughter died, meh. And those are all sad things, right? And heavy things to go through. And I could live in victimhood forever, or I can learn how to shift this and step into power and abundance in life. And that's really what we're here for. Our soul is driving us towards that abundance and love and connection. Like, man, so much more coming.
Bring it on. So what we'll do is we will officially end this part of our delicious conversation here and invite in questions. If you have one that you want to drop into the chat, you're welcome to live, or you can bring yourself off mute. I think I might need to give permission to be able to do that. Let me just see. And then let me just say, allow participants to unmute themselves if there are any questions coming in, and then also drop in the chat if you would be open to having some live
mini face reading.
Yeah, we've got time to do at least one of those. A few minutes of getting some feedback, and while people are doing that and referencing that, Jan would be open to the face reading. Amazing. There was one question that came in because I posted this on my IG as well. So there was a question related to how, like, when you've seen something, what is that like next step? Like when you notice something in body language, kind of what is that next step to like do something about it?
It's a multi-layered thing. So in body language, what I would start with is usually the body will highlight something in the body that it's desiring to shift. So first, holding curiosity with it. Like, for example, I noticed my shoulder was still coming up and holding back, and I understand the proper posture is down and in alignment, right? And so as I'm like shifting the motion and the position of my shoulder, a new energy and motion is being created. So getting in tune with what that language is. So pulling up is frozen in fear, and you can see it really in the collarbones, like it comes up like this. So getting in touch with the message, being frozen in fear, and holding back emotions. So my body was like, it's time to stabilize, to not be frozen in fear anymore, and bring those emotions forward, feel it fully. Because I say this, feel it to heal it, hear it to clear it. So the feelings want to be felt and expressed. And in that new energy and motion, the universe will start bringing you experiences to practice out a new ending. We've got to rewrite it. We got to trick our brain into thinking we solved it. So that way we create a new energy and motion. We attract a new reality. And this is how we begin to shift our body, our health, the life that we're creating. And then in that, there's probably going to be some emotional releasing, right? If you've been holding back emotions for a while, well, there's going to be something to come out, right? So when my body brought up this latest issue, I found trusted sisters, like the mothers and the grandmothers of my community, to hold space for me as I let these emotions go out and find my place to rest and have peace. So it's multi-layered.
That's a beautiful response there. Like really paints the picture and gives the idea of how noticing one thing and then inviting it to shift with that curiosity, with that compassion, then has that flow on effect, and the ways in which we can hold ourselves along the whole process. And one of the things I loved through working with you is getting to understand, oh, this means this, or if I'm here, this is what this means. It's like it becomes its own, you've got your own dictionary of reference of this is what the body is getting from this position. So that is all to be learned through the trainings. I love it. Shall we lead into Jan coming online?
Yes. Come on, Jan.
I'm going to invite you to turn your video on. Hi.
And I'm going to see Jan later on this afternoon too.
I love it. I'm going to hit pin on you, Jan, so that you are up so that we can give Kelly you nice and big. And then Kelly, I'll leave you to
maybe you can have show both of us, because oftentimes I'll be pointing at my face for her to understand her face as well.
Perfect. You're both pinned now.
Okay. And Jan, I'm going to have you come closer. And part of face reading is being able to see the whole hairline and where your ears are. So pull your hair back. Yep. And then come closer like this so I can see. Yeah. And then look straight. Look straight at the at the camera. Look straight at there we go. Okay. So the first thing I noticed about Jan is she has a pretty oval face shape. So someone with an oval face shape is going to be more feminine in nature, and the where we get that are the curves, right? When we think of feminine, we think of boobs and hips and thighs, curves, right? So when we see curvy, softer features, we see someone that is going to be more feminine. So she's going to be more flexible in her thinking. This is her mental zone. So she's going to be listening to multiple points of view. She's also sensitive to her surroundings. This is the physical zone. So she's sensitive to her surroundings, whether it's emotions or energies. She's also listening to the other emotions, right? Again, she's sensitive. Do you have a little bit of a widow's peak right here? Is that a widow's peak, or is that just it's a little bit of a widow's peak. Yeah. So somebody with a widow's peak usually has their imagination running wild, and they've got to bring their thoughts together, focus your thoughts together. This is your mental energy saying, ooh, we're going wild with these imaginative thoughts. And your body's like, let's bring it together. Let's find something I'm passionate about, some great imaginative thing, and bring it into existence. So focus that creativity a little bit more. And I can also tell, like, in your cheeks, you have these nice covered cheeks. So you're warm, you're affectionate, you're probably very caring towards other people. You also have straight lips though. So when this is your sacral center. So even though you're warm, open, and caring, you're tight-lipped about your own needs, taking care of yourself, standing up for yourself, and maybe even a grit and bear it type of attitude. And you see me making these faces because this is the energy in motion. Just, I'm going to get through it. Not going to speak up for myself. And someone with this type of face, and your chin comes out too, it's starting to come forward. So this is you really asserting your will. This is your root chakra. So pushing yourself past your emotional and own mental needs, like being very mental focused. And so there's a coming back into presence with yourself and caring for yourself and standing up for your needs and speaking up for those, and maybe not giving out so much caretaking energy, more for yourself. How is that landing?
It sounds about right, to be honest. Yeah.
And so
cheeks might be, I have no top teeth at all, so I don't know.
Yeah, we would get into, like, with a full body reading, every tooth means something. And we would get into the psychosomatics of why the teeth are not here anymore, like what happened in your life that your body decided to let go of the teeth, right? In psychosomatic therapy, nothing is an accident, everything is a message. And so it almost seems like the teeth coming out is, and this is where we get a really deep look at ourselves. It's not speaking up for yourself so much that your teeth are no longer there for you to speak up for yourself, right? So this seems like a very deep invitation. And even just the little bit that you shared with me privately, I can understand why you haven't spoken up for yourself. And so what we do in psychosomatic therapy is get to those root issues and heal that, so that you are able to stand up for yourself.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for being seen.
No problem.
Do you have any questions or comments?
The only comment I can think of is I lost them through morphine for pain. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of physical ailments as well as mental health. Well, sorry, trauma, not mental health. I'm not mental. Yeah, so I lost them through the medication, morphine. So, yeah.
Yeah, and feeling that, and again, just a little bit that you shared privately, is when we have been through such severe trauma and our body feels so unsafe. This is a lot of times where autoimmune disorders come from, or a lot of the other mental, emotional, and physical health diseases. I call them diseases because it's a lack of ease in the body. So these are a lot of strong messages from your body saying we have not felt safe for a long time, and there's going to be a considerable amount of inner work to do to create that safety, and it's possible.
Lovely, thank you.
Con gusto, as they say in Costa Rica, with pleasure.
Amazing. Woo, that was great. It's like, yeah, thank you very much for your courage. Like, it is a big thing to say, hey, see me. I will always remember my first experience of it, and it's powerful. It's a beautiful opportunity to fully reflect on the truth of where we are, what has brought us here, as Kelly said, that it's possible to change it and do so from a place of love. So amazing. Okay.
Yeah, and to give you some encouragement, I had many years of intestinal issues, diarrhea, parasites, amoebas. I mean, I couldn't keep weight on. There was so much, and it was a loud cry from my body that I had been through a lot that I didn't know how to process. And so my body was like shooting the emotions out of me in the form of diarrhea, and also a loud cry from my body that I had a lot of parasitic energy in my life. And it went through years of healing all the ways that I'd leaked my energy out of me. And in that, rebuilding my strength and rebuilding my gut health. And now I'm able to keep weight on. I don't suffer with parasites or anything like that anymore. My mental stability has come back, my emotional stability. So all of these things are changeable, and every single message is a message of love, right? We can curse our body and say, how could you do this to me? And it's like, no, we did it to ourselves. And now we get to learn. And some of it, was done to us. And again, we can become the victor of our situations by taking responsibility and saying, this is what I'm going to do now to heal myself.
And that's the empowerment piece. And I think that's where the knowledge through psychosomatics and body language, that's what it offers. It's like, we don't know what we don't know and how to create that change. And then when you're gifted with the information that can help you inform and create that change, boom, 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 so it will be.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, so we have had just here in the chat that if there is able to be a photo dropped, even though there's a broken camera, would you maybe, for the purposes of time, we'll invite that to be emailed, and that can be shared through, just because we're a little bit over our time, and I want to stick to and respect everyone's energy for being here, and that opportunity will be extended via email. That feels okay.
Yeah, and also, see, I'm not sure what your first name is. Sorry. There's also the face reading training on the 15th. So you can come to that as well.
Yeah, and I would highly recommend having completed So Much Love and then going on to the face reading. It was like,
or both.
You have to have So Much Love first. Like, it was an incredible wealth of information and insight, and straight away I took it and applied it to reading my partner and reading a friend, and just not for them, but to give me that informational feedback.
Yes.
And receiving the face split as well, and getting to see my shifts in the different sides and understand even deeper about myself. So yeah, there's so much. It's beautiful. There's a lot of opportunity for learning here.
And I would suggest doing the face reading first. I know you said the opposite, but we see faces every single day. And
Sure.
It's something you can learn in one day and begin practicing and putting into practice right away. So Much Love is also amazing, and it's a longer process, and it takes longer to build that vocabulary. So face reading, we're doing it every day. Might as well learn to consciously read each other.
Right. And it's surprising too how much you are intuitively doing it. Like, it is a universal language. We do have this innately, the wisdom within us. We're bringing it to the surface and helping us educate our conscious minds now about it. But we are so intuitive with this, more so than we realize sometimes. Amazing. Yep. Well, Kel, this has been wonderful. Thank you again.
Thank you.
For this live, and thank you so much for coming and sharing your wisdom, your energy, and sparking that inspiration and that motivation within us all to take a good look, take a really beautiful look, and learn how to read and understand messages that are coming to us from our soul through our body, and that opportunity to come into the alignment of the truth of who we are and what we're here to bring and share with this world. So
I have goosebumps. Yay. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for creating the space for people to learn and feel the magic of this.
Right. When we have this knowledge, we become empowered, we become informed, and we get to choose what we do and take it from there. So much goodness to come. Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you.